Hello, all my VIPs. This is A-List. If you're new here, I'm A-List Shipping Hog, and y'all are my VIPs. Welcome, welcome in. We're going to be talking about Kung Fu Panda 4. Now, with Kung Fu Panda 4, I will try not to do as many spoilers. If I do, I will warn you beforehand. But I wanted to mention about the reviews. I've been seeing so many reviews of Kung Fu Panda 4, and may I just say, with a lot of them, they mentioned how disappointing Kung Fu Panda 4 was. They mentioned how mediocre it was. They mentioned how it just lost all its momentum and all of its potential. Okay? And I am here to tell you that it's not mentioning everything that it lost. Okay? They sacrificed good writing, good characterization, just an overall good movie for money. That's essentially what they did with Kung Fu Panda 4. No, they did not respect the characters. The only character that you could say they came close to respecting was Po. It was Po, You could try to say it was Shifu as well. It was Po. Like, when I tell you that I'm going to talk about certain characters, I'm of course going to talk about the main villain, but I'm probably not going to say too much about the main villain. I'm going to talk about, the potential tradition. I'm going to talk about certain characters like Aquafina's character, Tai Lung, and Po. I may talk about in length Tai Lung's part more, but you get my drift. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's go. Let's start off with tradition. Okay, so as a tradition, we have the Dragon Warrior. Now, in the first movie, as you recall, the Dragon Warrior had a ceremony, It had fireworks. It had, shows, paperwork shows of dragons going around. It had people coming up to there. It was an event that the whole village enjoyed when they went to the Jade Palace. It was actually something that was celebrated, This is the person who's going to protect the Valley of Peace. Why not have a whole celebration about it? That's the tradition of it all. And then, of course, Po came out the sky like a ball of fire, and then he was chosen to be Dragon Warrior. Now, he was actually destined to be Dragon Warrior. Uwe just knew it in him. That's the thing. He was destined to be Dragon Warrior. And that was respected. And they trained him and what have you. Yes, they didn't treat him right at first start. They had a rocky start, but Po came to train and defeat Tai Lung. And that's how the first movie happened, right? Kung Fu Panda 4, this may be a spoiler, but I've seen so many reviews about it. We're going to talk about it. He is going to actively search for the next Dragon Warrior. Now, you may be wondering, why would he need to search if the Furious 5 is right there? And you know what, viewer? I asked the same thing. Why is he searching if the Furious 5 are right there? Why does he need to go past the Jade Palace to find out who the next Dragon Warrior is? That's a good question. Does the movie explain it? It does. It does explain it. However, I don't like his explanation. Like that is. I don't like his explanation. I just, no. Because one of the biggest things is that it's not respecting the tradition of it all. Yes, you have people who you think are worthy of becoming Dragon Warrior, and you have people who you're just like, how in the world could they ever be the Dragon Warrior? How in the world could they ever protect us? That's how people thought when it came versus Tigress and Po. Tigress seems like she's worthy of it. She would protect the Valley of Peace. She would be the heroine that everybody needed. Or so they thought. That's who they wanted. Po is who they would need, And I thought it was going to be similar in Kung Fu Panda 4. They would respect that, Oh, we have Aquafina's character, the Fox Girl. I don't even remember her name. I don't want to remember her name. I'm not going to hold you. We're going to have this character, and they're destined to become Dragon Warrior. They're not chosen like Talking With. Because think about it. Oogway didn't go out of his way to choose who the Dragon Warrior was. He didn't go to Poe's noodle shop and say, hey, you the Dragon Warrior. He ain't do that. Shifu ain't do that neither. The Furious 5 ain't even do that, bro. They ain't never went outside the Jade Palace to find who the Dragon Warrior was. They basically came to them. But it never showed that they were going to actively go outside the Jade Palace or the Valley of Peace to find the Dragon Warrior, right? For Po to be going to find the Dragon Warrior who is worthy of it is crazy. It doesn't make any sense to me, if I'm going to be honest with you. Why does he have to go and actively search for the Dragon Warrior? How can he even do that, if I'm going to be honest with you? And how does he know who is actually worthy or not? Because the most obvious ones who are worthy would be, of course, one of the Furious 5. So it's like, that whole thing was so weird to me. And this is saying this as a person who I do need to actually watch the movie in full. But I'm saying this as a pre-review. I probably will have these same opinions after I watch the movie. I don't plan to watch the movie anytime soon, to be honest with you. I don't want to watch the movie because I knew that it would be a cash grab. Now we're going to my second part about the whole cash grab thing. Buckle your seatbelts in. The trailer gave it away. Because you know who you see in the trailer? Tai Lung. You know who's my favorite villain out of the entire Kung Fu Panda franchise, Kung Fu Panda movies, trilogy? Tai Lung. You know who I was excited to see if I were ever to see Kung Fu Panda 4? Tai Lung. And you know who they knew to show so that people could get their butts in the seats to watch this movie? Tai Lung. They knew. And Lord Shin, because they had him in the trailer too. They had Kai in the trailer too. They knew who to show to have people have their booties in the chair. This is a cash grab because the trailer is actively showing us some of the best parts of the movie. It's showing us what we think we should expect, you know? It's showing us what we think is going to be one of the greatest parts of the movie because it looks like it's going to happen at the beginning, right? Only to turn out, no. Nah, it's none of that. You think it's going to be cool. You think it's going to be a moment where, oh, Tai Lung and Po get to have their reunion. Oh, it's going to be a big thing for real. And it's even shot to where we see mostly Tai Lung. I was thinking there was going to be a redemption. No, it's a cash grab. You think it's going to happen at first? No, baby. They don't care enough to do that. It happens at the end. Yeah, it happens at the end. Chameleon steals the chi or the life force of the villains at the end. It doesn't happen at first. You would think it does. The trailer shoots it as if it does. No. It also had other ideas. There was an idea where Shifu was going to be stolen by the chameleon. That was one idea. They scrapped it. There was another thing where they explained why the Furious Five, oh yeah, you remember them? They're not in the movie much either. They don't even speak. Kai and Lord Shin don't speak. Tai Lung speaks. I love that he speaks. You know why I love that he speaks? Because I thought it was going to be great. The trailer made me happy about it, right? He says dumbass lines in the movie. And the ending is the worst part. It's the worst part because it actually did tug at my heartstrings. I'm not going to hold you. But it's like, it doesn't make any sense when you really look at it. It doesn't make any sense. But anyways, how is a cash grab, right? They knew who to show. That's with any trailer. I'm not gonna hold you. It's with any trailer. They know who to show to have people show up to watch the movie. So what is wrong and what is so different about this movie doing that, right? Not only is the trailer misleading in a sense, you know, you think these events are gonna happen that the way they are, and that it's going to lead up to this big battle, and that it's going to be this whole big thing. You have this villainess who can steal and become other people, essentially. They can steal their power and become them. You know, you think it's going to be a big thing. She's worse than Lord Shin. She's worse than Lord Kai. She's worse than Tai Lung. She's really the big bad for real. You think she's going to be all that. It's hyped up. It's overhyped, if I'm going to be honest with you. The trailer overhypes it, bro. We're damn near being scammed. Like that. It even shows Po, her becoming Po, right? Now the movie breaks its own rules. To become or look as such, her tongue extends. She takes the chi or life force from that person, you know, becomes them, steals their power, all that. She didn't even do that with Po. So how did she become Po or a Po lookalike if she didn't steal his chi? How did she do that? The rules of the movie, this is not a book, this is my phone, but the rules of the movie, let's act like I'm flipping pages. The rules of the movie said that she would have to extend her tongue and steal their power, and she becomes them, can mimic their moves. It even slightly shows it in the trailer. For that not to be the case, like I can't. I literally can't. And another way of it being a cash grab is the obsessive need to add in humor. There's nothing wrong with humor in movies. You know, it can really break up, like, you know, a serious scene. You know, it can be lighthearted. It can really help a movie that possibly is depressing as hell. There's nothing wrong with humor. in a movie. There is something wrong when it seems like you are just obsessively adding it. Like you feel like this movie needs humor in order to save it. It needs comedy. It needs cheap laughs and cheap jokes. It needs fart jokes just to make it funny. It needs probably goat sounds. That's a reference to, oh my gosh, that's a reference to Thor: Love and Thunder. It needs just screaming goat sounds, bitch. Like, no, you think it does, and it makes me feel like you don't have enough confidence in your movie in order for it to be good. Like, you don't have enough confidence that it'll be good without all this humor and comedy. You're insecure about this movie. That's why you're adding all this other stuff. Kung Fu Panda 1 did not need that. Kung Fu Panda 2 did not need that. That's the thing I'm talking about. When it comes to the cash grabbing stuff, Kung Fu Panda 4 wants to add all these cheap laughs, wants to add all this extra shit that it doesn't need. Kung Fu Panda 2 is the most serious. Well, actually, Kung Fu Panda 3 may be the most serious movie, but Kung Fu Panda 2 had so much emotion, so to me, it was the most serious movie out of the first trilogy. And I do say first trilogy, you know why? Because this is introduced as the start of a second trilogy of Kung Fu Panda. Who asked for it? I don't know. I don't know any fan who said, I really want a second trilogy of Kung Fu Panda. We've had TV shows of this. We've already had 3 whole movies. It should be done at this point, right? Wrong. Wrong. Kung Fu Panda 2 was serious, and it feels as though they do not believe that they can make this movie successful without the crutch of humor. That you're using comedy as a crutch, you know. You're thinking that this movie is going to be so boring, so uneventful, so bad that you need all this comedy. You don't need all this comedy, bro. Kung Fu Panda has always been funny in certain moments, but it knew when to be serious. You know, it knew to make sense at certain points. It's a fun movie that has meaning to it. When you have Kung Fu Panda 4, where it feels like you don't even respect the previous movies, it's like, how am I supposed to enjoy this movie, sit down the whole way watching, and think, oh wow, I love this? You don't even respect tradition. How like type shit. Like, I can't. Like, what the heck? And it's another way of cash grab too, because it feels rushed. That's another thing. Why is it that certain characters don't have voice actors or actors? The Furious 5, bro. We've seen them since Kung Fu Panda 1. And you mean to tell me you give Tai Lung a voice actor, but you don't give the Furious 5 actors and actresses to voice them? They don't say anything? Lord Shin, the second villain, the most evil, arguably. In fact, I think he is the most evil villain out of the trilogy, the first trilogy of Kung Fu Panda. And you don't give him a voice actor? Kai, the most recent villain of the Kung Fu Panda franchise, and you don't give him a voice actor? What? Like, that don't make no sense to me. Like, that makes no sense to me. That's what it feels rushed. It feels like you needed to make this come out. You needed it so that you can get quick money. That's what the fuck it feels like. The animation is not even as good. If I were to pull up Kung Fu Panda 1, I need to get better at editing. If I could pull up Kung Fu Panda 1 right now and show you how it looked versus how this movie looked rushed. Kung Fu Panda 2, this movie looked rushed compared to Kung Fu Panda 2. This movie looked rushed compared to Kung Fu Panda 3. Why? What was your deadline? Like, just be for real with me. What was your deadline, and why does it feel like it needed to be this year and not next year? I honestly wouldn't have minded if it came out 2025. I'm not gonna be in no big rush. I'm not making the movie. I'm only wanting to watch the movie. You know, I love Kung Fu Panda, so of course I'm gonna want to watch it if it's showing promise. If it's showing that it's gonna respect the other movies, you know, I'm willing to watch it. No, I did not believe it needed a 4th installment. One, because calling it Kung Fu Panda 4 feels off when you've already completed the trilogy. Heck, you're still calling it Kung Fu Panda, but you're trying to introduce a new Dragon Warrior. What's the point in calling it Kung Fu Panda if you're trying to introduce another Dragon Warrior? Po was introduced as a Dragon Warrior. It's called Kung Fu Panda for a reason. It's about Po. But now you're trying to get a new Dragon Warrior. Is it still gonna be called Kung Fu Panda? Oh, so Poe's just gonna be in the background. What is he gonna become, Shifu? Does it establish that? Like, where's the extra details? Like dead ass. Like, where's the extra details? Now the focus is gonna be on Aquafina's character, but it's still called Kung Fu Panda. What? Make it make sense. Like, dead ass. Make it make sense. Did you see Kung Fu Panda 1 be called Oogway? It was not called Oogway. It was not called Shifu. Even though Oogway is basically the headmaster there. Like, dead ass. And it was called Kung Fu Panda. He's the Dragon Warrior. He's the one destined to protect everyone, bro. He's a hero. Now you have Aquafina. Are we gonna... What are we gonna call it now? Like, talk about... You can call it Kung Fu Panda 4. You could have called it something else. Because it's a whole new trilogy. Like, it's... You needed another year. I don't think anybody would have complained about not seeing this movie for another year. I mean, I'm one of the people where I didn't even expect a Kung Fu Panda 4. I had to go on Google and look up Kung Fu Panda just to see some of the voice actors and actresses, because I was like, oh, I was referencing my friend saying, oh yeah, I remember this voice actor or voice actress. I go on there, going to Kung Fu Panda 1, and then I'm like, Kung Fu Panda 4? This year? When was there ever a Kung Fu Panda 4 supposed to come? Who was asking for this? Like, it's DreamWorks. They already came out with Megamind 2, which failed. Last year they came out with Last Wish. Did really good. Did exceptionally well. Honestly, it did amazing. And now they're coming out with this, and it's just like, why? Why do you have to pump out these movies? What's happening, bro? Like, it just feels like a cash grab. But anyways, these are all opinions, by the way, too. But you know, it just feels like a cash grab. Anyways, we're gonna go into Aquafina's character. I have something to say about it. In fact, I have more to say about Aquafina, the actress, rather than her character. So let's really get into it. Aquafina, it is okay to play non-comedic characters. It is more than okay, actually. I want you to do that. Please. I noticed that in a lot of Aquafina's roles, mainly her voice acting roles, she plays a character that is eerily similar. No, eerily identical to another character that she played in a whole nother movie. I started noticing this trend that you are not only the comedic character, you're the sassy character, you're the fun-loving character, the one who can barely become serious unless it's literally like, oh, almost everybody's dying type of serious, you know? It's like you're 95% comedy, 5% seriousness. And that's the problem. I don't like the fact that it feels like you don't have range when I know you do. I know you do, bro. You were in a whole Marvel movie. Kwang-Chi, you were in a whole nother Marvel movie where you weren't just a comedic character. You were practically. But then you showed that you could become serious. You weren't a useless ass character, bro. You actually learned how to use that bow and arrow in that movie. Maybe, well, not behind the scenes. I'm talking about her character in that movie. However, it's like that character was serious. That character did a lot in that movie. You know, she was a great supporting character in that movie. It showed that she isn't just a comedic addition. You know, like, I'm sorry, my words are just crazy. She's not just comedic addition. She's so much more than that. So for her to be in this movie and for her to play the sassy new character who finds jokes, ways to joke, ways to be sassy, ways to be rude, ways to be the worst character in the movie, because that's essentially what she is to me. She's the worst character in the movie. I disliked her. If anything, with Chameleon, the villainess, let me just say, I feel nothing for her. But with this character, I was just like, it's Aquafina. She's fun to be the comedic, sassy character, isn't she? And that's exactly what she is. You can switch it up. I don't understand why you play similar, if not the same character. There's nothing wrong with switching the shit up, okay? Like, but she don't make the script. That's the biggest thing. She does not make the script. She just voice acts it out. It is not her fault the character is trash. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not her fault the character sucks. She did not make this character. She did not write this character. But it is the fact that she's just always the sassy fucking kid. It feels like at this point this is intentional. And if honestly, if she's chosen to be this role or to have these roles, and they're purposely picking her. She's not like actively auditioning for all these roles. No, they're literally trying to pick her out and stuff like that. That's screwed up of them. Like, what the hell? Give her other roles. Like, man, let her flex her ability. Give her other roles. What the hell? Because it feels like you're only picking her for her voice and her personality. And it's like, oh, you may think like, oh, what's wrong with that? It's like you don't want her to play anything else. It's like you act like she can't play anything else. That's a problem. Like, I feel like she can play other roles. Can we see her in other roles, please? Like, I can't. Can we see her in other roles, please? Like, being so for real right now. We're gonna go on to a bit of the Chameleon's character. With the Chameleon's character, I'm not even gonna pause it or do an edit or what have you. Sorry if I'm sweating. My room was hot. The Chameleon's character, I feel nothing for her. She actually had a lot of potential with her powers. She did not use her powers correctly. One thing is, if you are going to pretend to be some of the villains and steal their powers and all that, do it to someone that you don't have to go through the spirit realm to get. I feel like she should have pretended to be Shifu. I feel like that would have worked out greatly. Her pretending to be Shifu and studying Po, studying his moves, all this before she takes his moves and what have you, would have been a great idea. I wanted it to be that for a week she was pretending to be Shifu. And that she was all up in the Jade Palace. She had already infiltrated their place. And then the whole time she's scoping the scenery out. She over here looking and observing how Po lives his life, how he trains, what have you. Then, out of nowhere, her tongue extends and she tries to take Po's chi, or his life force. And it doesn't work. You know why it doesn't work? I wanted it to be to where Tigress steps into play. She saves Po, essentially. But in turn, pretty much, I'm not saying it kills them. Like, it didn't kill Tai Lung. It didn't, in the trailer, it showed it didn't kill Tai Lung. But I want it to be that, basically, Tigress's chi is taken instead of Po's. That would have been a great addition. And that would have showed you Tigress as a worthy dragon warrior. It would have been cool. It would have been cool like that. In fact, they did have something like that. One of the ideas was for the Chameleon to kidnap Shifu. And I thought that was a great idea. The problem with that is they scrapped it. Why did you scrap it? What the fuck? What? You could have had Chameleon use her powers in a very smart way. She's literally pretending to be Po's master, for crying out loud. Like, bro, she infiltrated there for about a week, been observing Po. Then when Po doesn't notice, or when his guard is truly down, she tries to take his stuff. But it doesn't work because she ends up taking Tigress's. And then the whole time, Po is trying to track her down because not only does she discover that this is not Shifu, this is a Chameleon, Shifu is missing, but also Tigress's chi is gone. So he has reasons to go outside of the Jade Palace in the Valley of Peace to go get this villain. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. Now, oh yeah, let me just go and find the next Dragon Warrior. The next Dragon Warrior is in the same place you're at. Like, what? What? No, like, I can't. Why did you choose this as your plot for Kung Fu Panda 4? What are you going on about? Like, let's be so for real. Like, I can't. And then them acting like the most important thing was that staff that was given to Po by Oogway. It's so crazy that they treat it like it's the most important thing, because I'm like, Oogway even admits that there's another staff and it's literally bigger than his. So it's not like it's the only staff ever, you know? And I see why there's importance to it, since it's in the living world and Oogway can't really go back. Well, he probably could, but you know what I mean. Can't stay in the living world, but it's just... Awkwafina's character being seen as worthy of becoming Dragon Warrior. No, what the fuck? She's a thief. Like, what the fuck? Like, think about it. All the reasons as to why she shouldn't become Dragon Warrior is basically her values. She is a thief. She's not exactly a good guy, or on the role of good guy. Not saying that she can't have redemption, not saying that she can't become a good guy, but it's low-key like, okay, how is it that you saw Tai Lung, someone who hasn't even committed any crimes before, you know, him going into a rampage, he wasn't seen as worthy of Dragon Warrior. Yet he was not a thief. He basically learned all of those techniques from those scrolls and what have you. He respected the Jade Palace. He respected his masters. He listened to them, what have you. And somehow he was still not seen as worthy. Yet we're looking at it as, oh, this thief is worthy. Even Poe himself, he was not a criminal of any kind when he was, chosen to become Dragon Warrior. But she is? I don't know. And you could say it's destiny. Yes, it is destiny. However, it seemed as though Poe could just go out and choose whoever to become the Dragon Warrior, whoever he deems worthy. But I'm like, you are living with someone who is worthy. You don't have to go out and go on the scavenger hunt to find this fucking person. This person lives with you. Like, I can't. So, what? So dumb. But anyways, favorite part, we're going to Tai Lung. We're going to Tai Lung. Tai Lung. Now, this is just a little bit of the first part. What I found was crazy was how Poe was so okay with killing Tai Lung in the first movie. This is just a little side note. I found that crazy. Poe is young. He was young in the first movie, right? He still is pretty much young, right? Tai Lung, full grown ass feline. I almost said grown ass man. Grown feline, okay? Right? 40 plus practically, learned all these techniques, is capable of killing, even though in the movie it's never really confirmed if he actually did kill anyone during his rampage. That was the biggest thing for me. It's repeatedly shown that Tai Lung is not evil. Not only is he not born evil, but he is practically capable of change. He was genuinely upset. He was sold a dream his whole life. He's literally an orphan being trained and brought up to be this great warrior. And then it's ripped away from him by Granddaddy Turtle. Like, bro. And of course he gets mad and what have you. He goes in his temper tantrum. He does hurt civilians. That's the worst part about it. And then he's put in jail for 20 years. Okay, gets out, what have you. Not evil, didn't kill anybody, what have you. Shows a bit of emotion. All he really wanted was he got an apology out of it. Then his anger got the best of him, what have you. He did need to be defeated. And he needed to be humbled. But did he really need to be killed? Is the biggest thing. That's what I found crazy. I was like, killed? Now you could say, oh, he could have been in prison, this and that, third. No. If anything, he didn't need to be killed. I feel like he could have been just really injured. Like, is it crazy to say that? I feel like his redemption arc is possible. There's a way to do it, okay? Just not the way that they did it, okay? They made it seem like killing was no choice, or like they had no other choice but to kill him or something like that. But I found it odd that Poe has never even won a fight before the whole Dragon Warrior thing. It's never actually established if he's ever been in a fight or ever won a fight. He's never actually practiced his Kung Fu before the whole Dragon Warrior thing. How was he so okay with murdering Tai Lung at the end of the movie? He's never been in a fight before, never been in any altercation like this before. Yes, he's trained, but it's like, did defeat mean murder? Like, that's the crazy thing for me. And he was surprisingly okay with it. Celebrated all that. Even the second movie, it didn't seem like he was really fazed at all. Like, it's weird. But in the show, I do know that the show is not exactly canon, but I do like how they're in the show. He does have some sort of like nightmare or like, distrust of like Tai Lung's cousin or what have you. And that made sense to me. I was like, okay, it's screwed up, but it makes sense, Why does it seem like he's as phased? He didn't really bat an eye to murdering Tai Lung. Like, Wishy Fingerhold, literally, this dude is outie. Like, at such a young age? Your first body? Like, that is your first body at 20 years old? Like, damn, you never even won a full fight before. Now you're over here taking people's lives? You never, what? Like, that's your first life you've ever taken. And you're okay. Like, how? What? Like, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy to me. But that was such a long segment. But anyways, bro, talking about it, Tai Lung in this movie was used to garner fans to come watch this movie. He was used as a cash grab. Put him in the trailer, all what have you. Have him in the movie for only a few scenes. Give him a voice actor, but then have him say dumbass, probably generic ass lines, like, all what have you. Then it's what they do at the end. That is one thing that I actually think he could have gotten a redemption arc because of what they did at the end, But with Tai Lung, it's wasted potential. he has many opportunities to get his redemption arc and to be a great hero. You know, he had many opportunities in the past, of course. You know, he couldn't become the dragon warrior, but he damn sure could be a master. It's not like that could stop him from being a master. He just wouldn't be the dragon warrior. Like, that shows in Furious 5. They're all masters in their own right. They're just not the dragon warrior. You know, it's like they're not the supreme master, I believe. They're just masters in their own right. So it's like that's nothing stopping him from there. But it's not only just that. It's literally they could have, sorry I'm pausing for so long, had the moment where Chameleon impersonates him, and then he gets his, he doesn't have his chi back, but he is talking with Poe. They probably do have a moment like that in the movie, but he's talking with Poe, all that. You know, he does have his lines and what have you, but instead of those lines, it's really explaining, you know, to Poe, like, oh, you may have bested me this time. He has those generic lines, but then he really hammers in on Poe, like, he really was not only just sold a dream. Yes, Poe knows this already, but it's not only that he was sold a dream, he worked his entire life for this. He has every right to be mad, and yet he is treated like he's these other villains. Lord Shin is Hitler Peacock. He is Peacock Hitler. Lord Shin is evil as fuck, okay? And then Kai is also evil. Over here, you in the spirit world, and instead of actually just enjoying your soul drifting in this vast space of magic, you instead stealing other people's magic. You evil, bitch. Like, you're evil. But you want to lump in Tai Lung with these evil ass people. It's kind of unfair. Like, this treatment is a little too much. He is nowhere near like any of these. He can actually be redeemed. None of these people could be redeemed. They're they're crash outs. They are crash outs. Oh my gosh, the term crash out, they're crash outs, bitch. Tai Lung's not no crash out. Like, you may just say he a crash out, but I'm trying to hear what his casualties were. How many civilians did he kill when he went into his temper tantrums? Yes, he injured them, but I'm like, did he completely crash out? Did he burn down houses and stuff? He caused mayhem. But how far did it go? Like, really, really just explain that to us. It was really bad, I know. But you're acting like he's on the same level of these other villains. No, he not. Like, no, he is not, okay? Does that make him a great person? No. Does that make him a good person? No. Does that make him evil? Hell no. He's not. Like, that is. So it just feels odd. It feels unfair in a way, like, and life is not fair, of course, but this is too much. Like, I'm just like, how is it that he's lumped in with these other villains? Yeah, he's a bad guy, you can say that, but these villains are evil. Like, these villains are genuinely awful. Like, it's one of those things, and you could see that his redemption arc, it's like you can actually have a conversation with Tai Lung. And it makes sense. Like, he has logical thinking still. Yes, he lets his anger get the best of him. Yes, he is rather prideful. Yes, he's a flawed fucking being. But I feel as though you could actually, literally, manage to bring him to the good side. I don't think you can do that with any of these other fucking villains. I don't think you can do that at all. I think the only one you can do that with is Tai Lung. Okay? So it's like, it's so... the potential, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. And then him working together with Poe to get his own chi back, I feel like it could have worked. It could have worked. He could have worked with Poe and then all this, but the whole time he's proclaiming that he's really not on the Poe's side and what have you. But he does gain more of a respect for Poe, and that respect strengthens, you know, over time. Like, he's actually in the movie longer. Put him in the movie longer. If you're gonna have him in the trailer, if you're gonna have him have a voice line, if you're gonna show him, put him in the trailer longer. Have him in the most of the movie, okay? Have him in most of the movie. Don't play with me like that. Have him in most of the movie, bro. Have it be that over the course of the movie, Tai Lung really sees why Poe was, you know, destined to be the Dragon Warrior. Why Poe deserved to be the Dragon Warrior. Have Tai Lung see that. Yes, it's a movie, so it's such a short time, but have it show that as Tai Lung was in the spirit realm, it's like, have it show that he has some level of maturity. Like, could you do that? Like, you know, that type of stuff. Like, Have it show growth, because at the end of the movie it showed that he had growth, so he is capable of it. Even though he's dead, he is capable of growth. He is capable of respect and understanding. Have it be that he's in most of the movie, and that over the course of the movie he has more respect for Poe and more understanding, more realization, more maturity, you know. Have it do that. Have it do that. Like, I'm not gonna sit in the fucking movie seats watching this, looking at y'all bait me into watching this soulless movie and not even be rewarded for it. What the fuck am I rewarded by? Like, I only see Tai Lung a few times at the end. I'm trying to see him throughout the movie, baby. I'm not trying to see him at the end where you're over here thinking that, oh, you know, he bows to Poe at the end and it just shows you that he has grown as a character. No, it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel earned at all. Why are you rushing? What are you rushing for? Like, what? It feels like you're playing with this, and I don't like to be played with. I don't like to be played with at all. He has a lot of potential, and you are wasting it away for money. This feels like a quick money grab. You do not care about the first movie of this new trilogy you're trying to make. You don't care at all. You don't care about the fans. You don't care about any of us. You don't care about Kung Fu Panda. You don't care about Poe. You don't care about the Furious Five. You don't care about Shifu, Uwe. You don't care about any character. You don't care about any villain. What do you want besides money? Because that's what it seems like you want. That's the only thing it seems like you want. Like, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. You wasted Kung Fu Panda 4's villain. You wasted a potential ally. He could have been an ally. You wasted that. And then we're at the end of the movie now. Thank y'all for hearing me out the whole time, okay? I've just been rambling on and on about this movie. Let's get into it. They have Poe defeat Chameleon with a few hits with the staff. Then they have Chameleon do the whole thing where she basically is Poe, mimicking Poe, what have you, even though she didn't touch his body with chi. Like, they don't respect the rules of their own movie, bro. I can't. The Fees is defeated with a few hits. Then, at the very end, the Furious Five come, they don't speak. And Poe is bowed to by all the villains he defeated. All the dead ones. Because most of, if not all of them, are dead. They're from the spirit realm. But the one in front of him is Tai Lung. Do you know how that made me feel? Like, do you know how that made me feel? That tugged on my heartstrings, bro. That made me like, oh, we could have had it all. You wasted it. And for what? Like, why did you waste it? We could have had it all. Like, bro, I don't think you understand the impactfulness of that. Like I said, the potential. We could have had Tai Lung throughout the course of the whole movie. He didn't have to be in all of the movie. He could have been in half of the movie at least. Show him gaining that respect. Show that Tai Lung is capable of maturing. Even though he is dead, he is capable of understanding why Poe deserved to be the Dragon Warrior. Why Poe was destined to be the Dragon Warrior. Why Poe was worthy of becoming the Dragon Warrior. We could have had that, and yet it's like, this feels cheap. It doesn't feel earned. It doesn't make any sense. Like what? Oh, they're respectful of him. They like him for helping them get their powers back, essentially. So they're gonna bow to him because they now have a newfound respect for Poe. No, I need you to come to the terms with the fact that these other villains are not gonna be like that. These villains died just so that they don't admit that they're wrong. They died not admitting that they're wrong. Bitch, like, do we forget how they were killed? Do we forget that? They died as they lived. Villainous. You're gonna say that, oh, they also matured in that room as well too? No. All the atrocities they did, that's going to take like millennium. It's going to take a long while for most of those other villains to actually, come to the same mindset that Tai Lung did. But what villain is not going to take too long coming to that mindset? Tai Lung. He's capable of logic. Not like them. They're actually crazy. Like that. He really is like. It's like that one inmate who like he's really in there because ran a stoplight type shit, like, ran a stoplight, whereas somebody else could have possibly murdered, like, or he was accused of something he didn't do or something like that. Like, it's one of those cases where it's kind of like, oh, he did this. It was really not the stoplight one. Let me just erase that one. He did this. It was really bad. They did this. Oh, they're never coming out. They should never come out. They shouldn't even see the light of day. Whereas him, it was just really bad. Them, they should never see the light of day. They don't deserve this. They don't deserve to see the sun. Like that type of there. That's the difference, okay? Tai Lung being in front of Poe, bowing to him is important, okay? And if you're gonna show it like that, I feel like it deserves to be, there should be, there should be a montage of it. Someone should be able to put together scenes of Tai Lung coming to understand why Poe is in the position he is in now. There should be able to have scenes of that from this movie, but there isn't. There isn't. Like, gosh, you just feel it's so cheap. It's so lazy. It's so careless. It's so many things. Lacking soul is the biggest one. What the heck, bro? All that, and then you have all the other villains that bow and respect Poe. They don't respect Poe. The hell? You think they really changed that quickly? Even with Tai Lung, you could say, oh, he changed quickly. And yes, him bowing at the end, it did bring something in my heart, my ice cold heart. But at the same time, I even gotta say, like, it doesn't feel earned, and it feels too quickly as well too. If they had shown him throughout the movie, because they love to put him in the trailer so that they could get people who are fans of him, like me, in the seats to watch this movie. If they had just had him in the movie most of the time and had him show growth, I probably would have been teary-eyed, being like, oh my gosh, he bowed to Poe, this is so cool. I would have been on some stuff like that, but I can't even fangirl like that. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. I'm pissed off. I've been watching reviews all day because I was like, I knew this movie would bomb. I knew this movie would fail. Do you know how bad that is to just know a movie would fail? Something in you is saying that this movie is gonna crash and burn. That it's not gonna feel like how the other movies made you feel. You're not gonna feel the same. Are you even gonna feel anything with this movie? That's how bad it was. I had to really ask myself, am I even gonna feel anything with this movie? When I watched Kung Fu Panda 3, I felt things, even though I was like, I kind of don't. I feel like they're gonna add too much comedy in Kung Fu Panda 3. Like, I was afraid of that. Like, they would add too much comedy in Kung Fu Panda 3. They did add a little more than I was okay with. But I was like, you know what? It brought out something in me. I appreciate this. There were moments where I was just like, bro, you had an opportunity to bring back Tai Lung. And I was so mad. I was heated. I was like, you even had his stone. They had his stone with his face on it, and they never brought him out. I was like, are you kidding me? Kai, that was a waste. Like, what the heck? But they brought him back Kung Fu Panda 4 only to waste him. You wasted potentially one of the greatest characters in this movie. Like, he could have been a great character in this movie, but you wasted him. So could the Fox girl, but you wasted her. Poe is probably the best person in this movie. And even then, you low-key wasted him too. I'm going to talk about Poe for a bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and go about my life. like type stuff. With Poe, I feel as though he should have stayed the Dragon Warrior. He should not be looking for a successor. He had reached the end of his journey in Kung Fu Panda 3. There is no point to look for a successor. Sir, could you at least enjoy your time as the Dragon Warrior just for a bit longer? You already gotta look for somebody else? What the heck? Do you know how crazy that is? Where is your break at? You just can't enjoy being the hero. You gotta get another hero. You gotta recruit more in. There's nothing wrong with recruiting more. It's just that, why aren't you talking to the already masters right here? Now, if Poe had this like feeling that he wanted to go around the world and find really good fighters, train them, basically become a master to all of them, like how Shifu was, with the people in the Jade Palace. If he wanted to do that, and if that was like at first the focus of Kung Fu Panda 4, I would have adored that. We start off the movie with Poe actually traveling around the world, literally finding people who can't defend themselves as well, who can't defend themselves as well, teaching them how to defend themselves, teaching them how to fight, teaching them how to hold their own. You think I would have a problem with that? Like, you think I would have an issue? Like, I would love that. Why did we not start off the movie like that? We don't have to start it off with chameleon fight. That could have actually been the next scene. Like, oh, he meets some of these kids and what have you, and they're just like, whoa, it's the Dragon Warrior. Oh, another thing. The Dragon Warrior being one of the most important, traditional heroes, one of the most important things. Some people may even probably thought it was myth. For the Dragon Warrior to not be known by most, if not the whole world, you get a side eye for me. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Oh, they don't know about the Dragon Warrior. I can understand a few common civilians not knowing too much about the Dragon Warrior. But for a good chunk of people to not know Poe, the Dragon Warrior, or the Dragon Warrior myth in general, not even myth, but legend in general. I kept saying myth, legend in general. That's odd to me. No, I'm not willing to believe it. It's odd. It's odd. Why is this in this movie? Why? It's too weird to me, bro. These people don't know who this is. They don't know this legend. It's weird to me, bro. It's weird. Yes, the world's a big place, but don't ever play in my face and say that they don't know him. It's a disgrace. Like that. No, that was so fucking cringe. I'm not gonna cut that out. This is your first video seeing me. I'm not cutting that out. Anyways, yeah, Poe was also in big ways a letdown. I just wanted him to basically be the Dragon Warrior, be the hero, be the legend. He had dreams in Kung Fu Panda 1 of him going around the world, stopping bad guys. He went to a random bar at one point to stop bad guys. He had this dream that he was kicking everybody's booty, wearing his attire. He had this shit on. And yet, he could have done that in Kung Fu Panda 4. Not saying he didn't do it. It's just that, why didn't it start off the movie like that? He's living the same dream he had in Kung Fu Panda 1. Do you know how cool that would have been? That's how you start off a movie to become great. You show that you care. Like, you remember. You give a fuck. Like, you show that you actually do care about your movie. Even if you don't care too much about us, you care about the movies that you've made, that you have worked on, that this art that you have pretty much been mastering for the first trilogy. Your care, the soul you put into it. Why didn't you do that? Why is there so many missed opportunities in this movie? What's going on? Like, this is becoming worrisome. What's going on? Child, I don't know. This movie was more than a letdown. It was damn near soulless. It felt like a cash grab. There was so much potential, and it was all wasted. All wasted. There was no point in this movie at all. If anything, I would have been fine if they waited a year. They could have changed the name, since it's a whole nother trilogy. And since you're introducing a person as Dragon Warrior, it probably shouldn't be called Kung Fu Panda anymore. Sorry to tell you. If you're going to start a whole new trilogy and Poe's not going to be the center focus anymore, what's the point in calling it Kung Fu Panda still? Like, yeah, you can say for nostalgia, but it's not going to be focused on the panda no more. It's going to be focused on somebody else. Start anew if you really want to do that, and be respectful in your other movies. In fact, you could have waited a year, change the name, do it right, don't rush, don't make it a cash grab, respect the fans, respect the art that you created so that we could watch it. There's ways to do it. You know how to do it. You're acting like you don't know. You acting like Netflix, where Netflix forgets who I am. Netflix, you know who I am, but it acts like it don't. Like, you're acting like Netflix. You're acting like Netflix. You're acting like you forgot the whole thing that you created. Like, you act like you forgot the whole thing that you have established, that you have gotten into. That's what you're acting like. This has been A-List Shipping Hog. I love Kung Fu Panda, as you can see. I'm just so passionate about it. I talked about it for like 50 minutes of me just talking about Kung Fu Panda and how much I just don't like how Kung Fu Panda 4 was, how they wasted what could have been one of the greatest movies of this year. I don't like that. Thank y'all for listening to me. Like that. Thank you for seeing me sweat, for seeing me preach. If this is your first video of me, how you doing? If this is like another video you've seen of me, any other video you've seen of me, thank you for coming back and watching me. Yes, I do love when my followers keep watching me. No, I do love you all. Thank you. You are all my VIPs, my very important people. This has been A-List, and may peace be with you for an eternity.